Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Hi guys, and welcome to another Fool of the Week. This week's Fool is a guy called Tim Loughton, a Tory MP and a former member of the Leave Means Leave lobby group of politicians. Now, he was responding to a point raised by Stella Creasy, a Labour MP, on how damaging Brexit has been to businesses. Stella asked him if firms in his constituency have spoken to him about the problems Brexit has created, and well, listen to what he had to say.
We have to be honest with the public. There's only problems caused by Brexit, and then the question of how quickly you can fix them. Exporting is down by a third, Tim. You can have all the individual trade deals you want with individual American states. You're not going to get a deal with America anytime soon, which is actually the only thing that could compensate for losing the access and all the friction and all the extra paperwork. And everybody's constituents are telling them about this. I can't believe you haven't had businesses talking to you about all the extra paperwork that comes as a result of Brexit. That means that they are just giving up on exporting to our nearest neighbours.
Sure, they are not. They are not.
Businesses.
Well, hang on. Let him answer.
Making it easier for us. Of course, they're not going to make it easier for us. They're still very sore that we've lost. That they've lost us. There are businesses.
He almost told the truth there, that we lost. Now, once again, we have this ridiculous argument from Brexiteers that the EU is punishing the UK. Well, then, if the EU is punishing the UK in some way by adding bureaucracy, then who has taken back control? Who is in control if the EU is able to punish the UK by adding extra bureaucracy? Now, I don't think that's the case at all. Most people don't think that's the case. It's the consequence of being a third country. These were warnings given before Brexit. If you leave the single market and the customs union, there are consequences. There is extra paperwork. It'll be more difficult to trade. That was dismissed as Project Fear, of course. Now, some Brexiteers like Daniel Hannan said, well, nobody's going to leave the single market and the customs union. So you had Brexiteers on one side saying, we're going to leave the single market and the customs union, but don't worry, everything will be fine. And then you had other Brexiteers saying, nobody's talking about leaving the single market, so everything will be fine. Well, somebody was lying or somebody was mistaken. Which is it? And this idea, once again, that it's the EU punishing the UK. The EU has pretty much moved on from Brexit. It has bigger fish to fry. It has bigger concerns on its plate. Ukraine, for example. We don't even hear about Brexit anymore within EU circles. EU member states are not even talking about. Now, the only country that's really talking about Brexit is Ireland, because it has to deal with the Northern Ireland Protocol. It has to see it implemented. It's trying to avoid a border on the island of Ireland. So that's why Ireland is concerned about Brexit and the Northern Ireland Protocol. But you go anywhere else in Europe, they're not concerned. The only time they talk about Brexit are the opportunities for their states. The Netherlands, France, Germany, these countries are benefiting from Brexit because you're seeing businesses relocate.
Who have opportunities outside of Europe. That's the problem, Stella. In fact, your party and the Remainers have seen the world revolves only around the EU. The rest of the world is where the opportunities lie.
What opportunities? Where are these opportunities? Why haven't we seen trade increase? Why haven't we seen GDP increase? Why has Brexit impacted UK GDP by 4%? When are these trade deals going to materialise? Or the benefits of them? They're not going to. Because there's a reason why the United States trades so much with Canada and Mexico. There's a reason why Australia trades more with China than it does with Europe. Because of vicinity. You trade mainly with your neighbours. It makes economic sense. It's more expensive to transport goods across the planet. It's much cheaper to trade with people who are next door to you. France is 30 miles away from Britain. It makes more sense to trade with France than it does with Mexico, or some country in South America.
And those were opportunities we could not seek and exploit when we were part of EU, which meant we could not negotiate our own trade deals. There is lots more to... Well, it's entirely...
When it comes to these trade deals, you can have trade agreements with other countries. But many of these countries now are applying EU standards. For example, Mexico. Mexico is applying EU standards when it comes to goods. The UK can have a trade agreement with Mexico, but when it comes to trade deals, it's better to be part of a larger organisation. That's one of the reasons why the UK has been talking about joining the one in the Pacific, which includes New Zealand and Australia and Japan. So trying to be part of that agreement, because it's better to be part of a bloc. You have better negotiating power. The UK left a massive bloc to be on its own, where it has pretty much no negotiating power. And don't just take my word for it, take the word of British farmers. Juxtapose that with what is being said by New Zealand farmers. New Zealand farmers are very happy, they got a very good deal. British farmers got a very raw deal.
True, there's lots more to come.
It's my turn, because the deal we've done with Japan, we could have done whilst we were in the European Union. Actually, what most of us are concerned about are basic things like geography and sanity. 500 million people as a trading bloc is a good market for our constituents' businesses.
And will continue to be.
Now.
It will continue to be. You voted, you campaigned to put up barriers to trade with the next door neighbours. What sense, where is the sense in that? Yeah, we'll continue to trade with the European Union. You'll be able to you'll continue to trade, but with more restrictions. It's more difficult. Nobody has said that trade will come to a grinding halt. There will be no trade. Because in some ways it's still economically feasible. But for many businesses it's not. They have to relocate or they just close down. You would imagine politicians like this guy, who were so wrong, would have gone into hiding out of embarrassment. This guy used to be a banker. He should know these things better than I do. He's in this sphere, in this environment. But in reality he knows nothing, or he's pretending to know nothing. Is it the ideology talking, or is he just a fool? Because that's why he's our Fool of the Week. See you next time for our next Fool of the Week.